It is May the 12th, 2026. 8:05. I'm late, but I'm on my way. That's, you know, it ain't that I'm late. I'm on my way. All right, this probably been the first time I've been on my game in the morning and was able to video or thought about it. I'm coming to you with the update of the Groupon trip that I purchased back in early April because somebody said it on TikTok. And so I purchased the Groupon mystery single trip. Once I purchased the trip, several people came into the comments everywhere and said that it was a scam and that, you know, that I would probably get Orlando, Florida, because that's where they send everybody. And, you know, so I decided just upon hearing that I was going to accept whatever I got and not get myself all worked up in a tizzy because I got what the people in the comments were saying, that I got an Orlando trip. And I got an Orlando trip. But it happened at the time that I wanted to do something because I was going to Kansas City for 2 days for corporate training. And so I wanted something after those 2 days because Kansas City, going to our corporate office, seems to heighten my anxiety. And so I figured I'm gonna need the break. I was gonna try, before I found out about the Groupon trip, I was gonna, you know, find something that I could do, because I was gonna stay in Kansas City. That's what I was gonna do, stay in Kansas City for 3 days and just like make a time of it. And then the Groupon fell in my lap, and I thought that was a pretty decent amount. It was $290 for round trip tickets and a 2-night stay at a 3 or plus hotel, not motel, hotel or resort. Maybe it didn't say that, but that's, you know, that's what I ended up in. The Ramada Wyndham Resort in Orlando. And I tried several times to find different things that I could do, try to connect with somebody, and, you know, so, because if I've got a somebody who can show me around, I usually can find some, you know, comfort in that. Just having that connection with someone where I'm going, because I am traveling alone. A lot of people don't like to travel alone, but I'm beginning to learn that I love my own company. We find the best things to do, and, you know, we pick the best places to eat. So I'm enjoying the shit out of my company these days, which has not been an easy task, because I've been trying to love myself for a minute now. Like, really love myself without the permission of anybody else. And that's what I've been looking for my entire life, is permission from someone else to love me. Because if they think I'm okay, then I can think I'm okay. And that's something wrong with that. Because I should be okay whether you think I'm okay or not. And that's where I'm going. At any rate, I went on the trip, and the trip, you know, to sum it up in a nutshell, it was basically just traveling. That's what I was doing, traveling. Not going to a destination or going to an event. I was just traveling, because I spent a lot of time on the road. First of all, I had to drive back and forth to Kansas City. That's 3 hours there and 3.5 hours there and 3.5 hours back. That's 7 hours of driving. Then when I got back home on Tuesday, I thought that I was going to end up, I had bought a ticket, not thought. I bought a ticket, what I thought was an Amtrak train ticket to Chicago, because that's one of the things about the Groupon is that you have to fly where they tell you can fly. And they weren't flying out of St. Louis, they was flying out of Chicago. So I figured since I had to go to Chicago, I'd plan a trip around that too. You know what I mean? So I had to, I bought a ticket, what I thought was a ticket to Amtrak, to catch the train to Chicago so I could catch the plane to Orlando. And the hardest part for me was trying to find a way to get around where I was going, because I was really being like super frugal and cheap, feeling like I really couldn't afford it, but was gonna do it hook or crook anyway. And that's what I learned. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned on this trip, was the fact that convenience is important to me. And because convenience is important to me, that would mean that time is important to me, which means that I gotta let go of the money. Like the money you're gonna have to spend the money for the convenience. If you don't spend the money for convenience, you spend a lot of, just like oblique time, where nothing's being done. That's why I did so much traveling. At any rate, I'm on my way home from Kansas City, and find out the girl who was going to take me to the train station say she can't take me because, and I was supposed to be at the train station probably about 10 o'clock this day. She can't take me because it's raining, and she can't drive at night and in the rain. So she telling me early in the day, it's about 11 or 12 o'clock. She told me that's before I even got on the road back to St. Louis. So I knew on my way back home that she wasn't taking me to the destination. And that was sort of a comfort area for me, that I had that ride. Like, I feel like I need that connection with someone else. Although I'm traveling by myself, I'm still trying to incorporate people into my travel. That's what I just got that download. So when she canceled on me, I'm riding home, and the guy that lives in Chicago is calling me like crazy. I met him before I decided, after I had determined that I was going to spend some time in Chicago. It was a happenstance thing. It's like I wasn't intentionally looking for somebody for Chicago, but he was being very forceful, calling me all the time, and like just interjecting himself in a way that we didn't know each other, and I wasn't comfortable with it, but I still wasn't saying nothing to him about it, because in my mind he gonna be in Chicago, and that'll be a connection that I can have in Chicago. So I'm allowing him to be pushy and aggressive. Not aggressive, like it's really low-key aggressive, but still I noticed it. Okay, so at any rate, I'm on my way home, and I'm talking to him on the phone, and he really kind of getting on my nerve, because he really don't know how to hold a conversation. So I'm holding a conversation with myself due to my anxiety from my corporate office. So I'm just talking about them. And then when I got tired of it, I said, you know what, I ain't doing nothing but talking myself into a frenzy. You know what I mean? I said, I'm ruminating on some shit that I shouldn't even be tripping off of. So I said, I'm gonna call you back later. I'm driving. It's raining. I need to, pay attention. I'm sick of talking to him, for real. Even though I was doing all the talking, and he just on the phone, that's a whole nother story. I'm not gonna go down. Anyway, when I hang up from him, I decide, boom, I'm gonna call Amtrak, because I learned on a post that I made on Facebook that you could possibly catch the train from Kirkwood. And if you know anything about St. Louis, Kirkwood is a decent area. I feel like, if I could catch the train from Kirkwood, I could park my car anywhere in the neighborhood over there and walk over there. I would feel safe as a bug, and I would feel safe leaving my car 5 days. I didn't feel like that I could do that downtown, which is where I needed to go. And so I said, let me call Amtrak and see if I can catch this train from Kirkwood. I called Amtrak and get them on the phone, and I got a sassy little black girl, baby. She was getting me together. Talking about, that's what I get for trying to make my own plans. I should have called them in the first place to make the reservation, because come to find out, one, the arrangements that I had made had changed, and I had to be at the pickup spot at 5:45, and I'm on the road. It's probably about 2:30. I'm not gonna get to St. Louis till 4:30, 5 o'clock. So ain't no way in the world I'm gonna be able to bump up my time to get down there because I didn't prepare completely for Chicago, and I had a few ends I had to pull together to finish up, what I was gonna take, and then, just making sure that I had everything that I need, because I was going from Chicago on the train, then Orlando on a plane, then back to Chicago on a plane, and then staying there 2 days. And so I need outfits for all these days, and I really never factored in the weather, but I should have. You know what I mean? Because it was cold as shit in Chicago, but it was hot as hell in Orlando. At any rate, she tells me I done my arrangements that I made was to catch a bus from the Amtrak station to Carbondale, and then catch a train from there, because the Lincoln 305 is what I need was not gonna be leaving the train station until like 4:30 in the morning or the next day. It wasn't, that's the reason why I was catching the bus, because I was catching another train that was going to Chicago, but it wasn't coming through St. Louis, and Carbondale was the way to get there. But I had the key of knowing this information was the fact that I had no idea. I had no idea that I had bought a bus ticket to catch a train. And that's what she's telling me, and really kind of raking me over the coals by saying you shouldn't try to plan your own stuff. At any rate, she got me together, and I got on the 4:30 train. The 4:30 305 Lincoln to Chicago at 4:30 in the morning, which worked out better for me, because that gave me a little bit more time to figure out what I was going to do with my car anyway, right? Because I couldn't catch the Kirkwood train wasn't coming to the next day at 11, and I didn't want to chance that, because my flight was leaving Chicago at what was it, 3? I think it was 3 or 4 I needed to be there. I can't remember exactly, but around that time is when I needed to be there. And so I couldn't chance that. So the 4:30 a.m. one was perfect. We would be there in like 4 hours. And so that meant I'd be there first thing in the morning. And, and then I could make my way to the airport. So I was like, okay. So I took a bath, baby, and I took a good deep soak in some of my mineral flakes, baby. I got myself together, because I literally got in the bed and went right to sleep, and woke up on my own at 2:22. On my own. But I set the alarm for 2:30, because I wanted to get up, get dressed, and I had aligned with Carl that he was gonna let me drive to his house, his apartment. He lives in some special apartments where, the broke people over 55 can stay. not making fun of them or nothing, but those buildings now, and they everywhere, because my age group is the ones that's filling them up, and the ones that did not, or it's a lot of people that decide they can't work. It's nothing wrong with them in the sense that they find some way to make money, but they don't want to work. They want the SSI, especially in St. Louis. It's a huge scam. I'm not going to even mention that, that all these people on SSI, and it kills me. A lot of guys that's on SSI happen to be on all the dating sites, and they want to take you out only at the beginning of the month. But let me stop. I digress. So I'm thinking I'm gonna drop my car off at Carl's house. Carl gonna park it and watch it for the days that I'm gone, and then he gonna take me over to the Amtrak. So I'm supposed to be at his house at 3:30 or 3:45, because we leaving at 4:30. He said, make sure you can wake me up, because he making it seem like he might not be able to wake up. You know what I mean? And so I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I get up, get myself ready, finish packing all the rest of my stuff up, and I'm ready to go. So much so that I took my car, went to the store, and got me some snacks, so I could have some things that if I wanted to eat something, I had something to snack on. I didn't have to spend any money. So I went to 7-Eleven, and they was closed, which pissed me off, and I had to go all the way over to Quick Trip. But either way, I had enough time. Everything was working out fine. So I decided to check Lyft and Uber to see how much I could get for somebody to pick me up, and I could just leave my car at home. which should have been the plan all along. But like I said, I'm being frugal and acting like I need people, and so I'm trying to arrange a ride instead of just, you know, doing what everybody else do, which is Uber and Lyft where the fuck they need to go. And so I check it, and Uber has a price of $20.83 to pick me up in Maryland Heights and take me to Amtrak. I said, oh, okay. I booked it immediately. Bam, yeah, that's a good one. You know, then I don't have to fuck with Carl, and my car can be at home and everything chill. Now the Uber Black picked me up. XXL. A Uber Black picked me up. XXL. I'm talking about big old roomy car. I know 8 people could have been in that car easily. And now it's just little on me. I felt like a little mushroom in that big old car, which was good. I like feeling small. That's rarely with my big ass. Anywho. He take me down there and get me down there in about 20 minutes. I think I got there probably 3:50, and the train was gonna leave at 4:30. So we was gonna board at about 4:15. So perfect timing. And rode the train to Chicago. It was probably about 8 or 9 o'clock when I got off the train in Chicago. And I can't think of what time. It was, you know, early in the day, but I did get to the airport. You know, I caught the system, the CTA, to the O'Hare, which was a long train. You know what I mean? It was a long ride. But I felt safe. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like, sometimes down in them little subway things, though, it's a little bit strange. Especially be by yourself. And have luggage with you, so motherfuckers know that you traveling. And but you could be from around there, because you could be living in Chicago and headed to the airport. Either way, you still got your luggage with you. And so that was a little bit concerning at moments. Not a lot, but at moments. And but for the most part, the trip, you know, on the train was very non-incidental, you know. And the trip from the train, when I got to Chicago, and I had to walk a couple of blocks to get to their system. And you know, I had my little way to pay on the phone, and you know, it wasn't but $2 and something to catch the train all the way. And then I came back. I didn't do much on that. Oh man, this is a whole nother story, because I can't tell you that. I'm finna pull up at work right now. But I didn't have nothing to do in Orlando. And since I didn't have nothing to do, I let the ladies talk me into going to get the 90-minute spiel for a free cruise and $200 cash. And they're gonna give you the $200 cash. It's not a you gonna get a card or nothing. It's gonna be $200 cash. So I was like, shit, I didn't go do that. I could use $200. I really could. You know what I mean? So I went over there, baby. Them people had me hemmed up. It's supposed to be 90 minutes. They had me for 4.5 hours. Because I got there about 5 or 10 minutes to 2. And I did not walk out of that place till like 6:30 in the evening. And they played me. They didn't play me because I got the $200. That's where they couldn't make no deal at. Because I got the $200. There was no deal that they could, you know, offer me that I was gonna take unless I still getting that $200. And the goal is for them to keep that $200. Baby, and the goal for me was to get it. And I got every $10 bill, because they gave me $200 worth of 10s. Why my eye keeps sticking right there? Anyway, I'm going to have to come back and tell y'all about from the, you know, Orlando trip to the Chicago trip, and then the situation with the guy that had been calling me when I was on my way back home from from Kansas City, and acting like he wanted to see me so bad. So that's gonna be really good. I'll see y'all in the next video.